Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world. You're listening to the Exceptional Consider Show live from the nation's capital. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialists. Mary Brockman, my bouncer in chief, is in the hizzy. If you diss her, you diss me, and you will be dismissed. So glad to have you here. On my mind over the past few weeks, and you all know, I have been talking with Janice Hall, the J Hall World Report, on Tuesday nights at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Subject of conversation: Venezuela. And ladies and gentlemen, there have been a great many concerns regarding the longevity, the existence of that nation beyond uh, dinner in many cases. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to have with us Jose Alberto Nino, who is a anarcho-capitalist, forgive me, a writer for Mises Institute and many other publications. He's going to come in and talk with us tonight about Venezuela. And is there hope for transformation in Venezuela? We all want to know the answer to that particular question. Um, it's really about life and death right about here. Mary Brockman says I'm looking sharp this evening. Thank you very much, Mary. I passed the litmus test for being on the air with Mrs. Biggs. So thank you. Thank you very much. That's a big concern of ours, and we're looking forward to getting some answers to exactly what is the hope. Dave, No Surrender Milner, is in the chat room with us this evening. What is the hope for Venezuela? And is there any hope for a far right wing activist to have any ground there? There's got to be something there for capitalism. It's got to be. I hope so. Jose Alberto Nino will be on with us in short order. Want to do some ombudsman work. I hope that you all know that I am human and I do make mistakes. And it is brought to my attention that I do make mistakes. And so I like to bring them to your attention so that you do not follow me cultishly, but that you can believe that the words out of my mouth are not perfect always, but can be cultivated for perfection. Um, I got word from Dan the other day, and Dan advised me that I had misspoke regarding HP Pundit TV, that they are not doing internet TV. They have always found a way to broadcast their artists who have access to video, like it unto myself on Ustream and so on. And so that's what they're going to be working on. And congratulations to them still. I think it's a great thing. Keep up the great work. Also, want to make it abundantly clear tonight that thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Trying to look my best. I have to represent myself well in front of Mary Brockman and Mrs. Big. So, tonight, Sackheads Radio show will be on at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And we want you to be there for that. But it's a very special reason why we want you to be there for this. On tonight, they will cross over the 20,000 listener mark. They will have over 20,000 listeners to their program. Now, I know that a lot of people say, hey, Ken, I'm not into statistics or whatever. But I don't care about whether you're into statistics or not. You've achieved something, you accomplished something, you worked hard for something, and you deserve the accolades for your success. Whether friend or foe, whether believer or doubter, you deserve the accolades. That would be kind of like telling LeBron James that he's not a great player, although he's won 4 MVPs. Okay, the bottom line is you accomplished something and you deserve it. And so this is what I'm going to ask everyone to do. Go to the chat room that we have there and invite every single one of your friends, to listen to Sackheads Radio tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's 8 p.m. on the West Coast. Tune in and listen to them tonight. Make certain that they go over, not squeamishly get to 20. I want to see them go markedly above and beyond what we can even ask or think. So would you do that for me? Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we get this party started on our network. We allow the kids to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. There's a big flag behind me. There you go, right there. And for those, well, live stream's not really working, so there was a bigger flag over here. But if you don't have a flag that you can look at, imagine one. But put your right hand over your heart and let the kids lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Take it away, kiddies. Right hand over your heart.
Ready, begin. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are beginning our show, we want to get on, of course, a gentleman who has a whole lot more marketable experience with Venezuela than we do, has lived in Argentina, has lived in Chile, has lived in Venezuela, can speak passionately about the issues that we face and that they face, and quite frankly, the hopes and aspirations of the people of Venezuela. Venezuelan-American patriot, an author and writer, Jose Alberto Nino. Let's bring him on the Exceptional Conservative Show. Good evening, Mr. Nino.
Yes, this is Jose.
Jose, it's a pleasure having you on the air with us tonight, but not for the experience that we got to talk about regarding Venezuela. You are a great writer. You've written in Mises Institute. You've written in Conservative Liberty and many other places. Can you tell everyone your background regarding Venezuela?
Oh, well, thank you for having me on, Ken. Well, I was born in Venezuela in 1991, and I left actually at a very young age. Mostly because my family was in search of like better economic opportunities. This was before Chavez came into power.
Yeah.
But but I've always been like in touch with people in Venezuela, and I've always been very interested in the topic. So when I became more politically active and was just watching the news about the stuff going on over there with Hugo Chavez and everything, I became more concerned about the issue. And in the past 4 years or so, I've become more involved in terms of writing and telling the truth about what's going on over there. So I've been mostly like the past few years writing for various free market oriented outlets, explaining what's going on in Venezuela and what it needs to do to get out of its crisis.
Exactly. Now, you spent time in Venezuela, in Chile, and in Argentina, um, and you understand the Latin American culture, especially the latter century culture. Um, the conservatism of the 19th century seems to be all but a history mark in the book of Latin America. Can you tell us what the culture is like in Latin America regarding economics and governance?
Latin American culture is very different from most like traditional like Western and Anglo-Saxon cultures like ours. Um, their constitutional foundations are much flimsier than the U.S.'s, and whenever you look at Latin American countries after independence, most of these countries were marked by notable economic instability and ruled by petty tyrants. And if they actually had constitutions, they were just pieces of paper that were never really respected. There was never really much of a civic culture. Some countries became advanced thanks to mostly like commodities, like say like Venezuela, which had a lot of oil. Some countries like Argentina actually had a pretty stable constitutional order for some time until they fell victim to demagogues like Juan Domingo Perón, in the case of Argentina, and and that's just been like a legacy in Latin American cultures of turning to strongmen and other dictator-like figures. And what you're seeing in Venezuela is just like a repeat. Venezuela used to be a very stable country,
Yeah.
albeit with a flimsy foundation that ended up collapsing in the 1990s that paved the way for Hugo Chavez. But in general, the region has just lacked a lot of institutional stability, and as a result, the quality of governance and economic performance is sporadic at best and sometimes disastrous.
Exactly. We're talking tonight with Jose Alberto Nino, who is a great writer. I read lots of his work before asking him to come on the air today. You can find him at Mises Institute. You can also find him at Conservative Liberty, amongst a wide range of places. When we come back from the break, I want you all to have a very good understanding of why Venezuela is in the condition that it is today, and if there are any solutions for Venezuela. And also, in addition to that, is there any hope for capitalism and conservatism in Latin America? We will be right back right after this break. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Thank you so much for listening.
From day's first light till night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian. Because it's our story too.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, TECN Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk. TECN Sean and TECN Clanton. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, TECN Radio.
You.
The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America. And in the West.
large. I'm pretty sure it's the biggest spider I've ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first the Republican and then the socialist. We have with us tonight Jose Nino, who is a tremendous writer who has been writing about the pains of what's going on in Venezuela. Jose, first and foremost, I got to ask you this. For the good people of America, you know we have the Second Amendment. Many of us have 2 or 3 guns. Some children are even born with guns as they come out of their mother's womb. And we got ammo to go along with it. With that type of mentality that we have, how come the people of Venezuela don't rise up and take on Maduro and other Latin American countries who have dictatorships like that?
Well, this goes back to the point that I mentioned about like the institutional foundations. The Second Amendment in Latin American countries doesn't really exist for the most part. The government has a complete monopoly on like the ownership of guns, and if there is like an ownership, it's very, very restricted, and it tends to be only amongst corrupt law enforcement and military. And there's just not a culture per se of really strong civilian gun ownership. There have been rebellions, but they tend to be very manipulated by establishment figures and other warlord-like figures in these countries. And in Venezuela's case, right now, the Chavez government actually made sure to strip many law-abiding Venezuelans of their right to bear arms in, I believe, 2010, and they've done a lot of disarmament programs. And what has been the result? Well, you see rampant crime, and then the obvious tyrannical government abuse, which is logical whenever you have a disarmed populace.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people are sitting back at home, have never heard that. Absolutely have never. They can't imagine that you would allow a government the authority to either protect you solely or to take away your right to protect yourself. Is this a newfangled thing because of Chavez, or maybe a more recent, or is this has this been the culture of Latin America over the past century?
This has generally been the culture of that region for the past like 2 centuries. It is actually just a legacy of the Spanish colonial rule. There's just not much of a gun ownership culture and a respect for those type of civil liberties. That's what makes America exceptional. The fact that that law-abiding individuals have the ability to protect themselves and their loved ones from criminals and potential government abuse. That is completely unheard of in Latin America. The only thing Chavez did was just expand a much stronger degree of gun confiscation, if you will, and to further carry out his socialist project.
Exactly. Now, I want to ask you this because apparently here in America, the church is very strong. Even at its weakest links, the church is a very strong institution. Aren't there radical priests and preachers who are lining up to fight against the imperial nature of governing leaders? I mean, aren't they in the pulpits of Chile and Venezuela speaking against the wretchedness of these dictators?
Yes, there are some isolated figures, but also in Latin America, the Catholic Church, which is like the predominant religious force, has been largely corrupted by liberation theology and infiltrated by a lot of cultural Marxist elements. And the result has been that like they've become like an appendage of a lot of like Marxist apparatus and socialist governments there. that it's just a very ineffective mechanism for social change there, unfortunately. There are voices in the wilderness that will speak out against abuses, but they've not been able to really organize effectively, unfortunately.
Exactly. And so, listening to you tonight, we know that the people can't protect themselves. We know that the church is literally in the glove compartment of the dictators. Uh, but we hear stories about opposition. What is defined as opposition in Venezuela?
Well, the opposition is, is like what they refer to is the coalition of people of the Democratic Unity Roundtable, better known as the MOOD in Spanish. It's a hodgepodge of really just socialist-like
Mm-hmm.
moderate leftist groups
Mm-hmm.
that want to revert back to Venezuela's previously flawed economic model that gave birth to Chavez. Those previous years were obviously better than what Venezuela's in right now, but it was a system that was built on a house of cards, and and a lot of people knew it was going to collapse, and they just didn't think that a guy like Chavez would swoop in and take advantage of the disarray. And that's why the opposition to this day, I think it's been really ineffective because they have not been able to offer a ideological alternative to the current Chavez regime that will actually get Venezuela up and moving, and also get people to rally around their cause.
Okay. Now, knowing all these particular things, a lot of people have been saying that it is a miracle that Maduro is still in power in Venezuela. But before I ask you how he is, I got to ask you this question from our chat room. The uh, Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room at the exceptionalconservativeshow.com. Dave No Surrender Milner is asking, what is the influence of Islam in South America, and is that necessarily negating any type of revolution against the dictators?
I'm actually not very well versed on the influence of Islam per se in Venezuela and Latin America for that matter, but you have seen, because of how weakened Venezuela has become, that they have aligned themselves with like rogue nations like Iran and other countries like that. And I believe the Vice President of Venezuela, Tariq al-Assami, he does have connections to radical Palestinian groups and some other elements, but I'm not a great authority on that subject. But from what I can gather is that with Venezuela becoming a weaker, like a failed state, you're going to see a power vacuum, and you're going to see international actors and rogue states try to get in the mix.
Exactly, exactly. It's a candy store right about here, and so I want to go back to the question. I digress. Um, why is it um, after all of the uproar that Maduro is still? I mean, people starving. His army is starving. People are still in support of Maduro and Venezuela as a socialist wonderland.
Well, that's a good question, and it is a very mind-boggling like dilemma because Maduro is seen as like kind of like a dunce, or like an idiot of sorts, but been able to keep things together. There are several factors, I believe. One, you have an opposition that is so disorganized. Like I said, they are a hodgepodge of um, leftist parties of varying degrees, and that's headed by different personalities that sometimes like fight against each other, and they're not very effective against organizing against the government.
Yeah.
Second, the military in Japan has been well subsidize, if you will, especially a lot of like the elements through drug money and petroleum rents. That as long as that gravy train keeps going, they'll be in line with Maduro. That being said, there is tension between some elements of the military that want to see Maduro gone, and the civilian wing of Chavismo that Maduro represents. But the most likely scenario is that might be like a civil war.
Yeah,
is more likely than a opposition deposition of Maduro.
yeah. So, and if there is such a fragmentation of socialists that don't see that socialism is the problem, merely the personalities that uphold socialism are, we literally will have a junta very soon, a military junta. You're looking for the military to take control of the nation itself, right?
I believe that there is a strong possibility that it will devolve into a military junta. The military is very, very socialistic, and they're been practically brainwashed and infiltrated by Cuban agents and similar elements over the years. They're very likely going to continue a lot of the same policies. They just won't. In Maduro, it's a question of personalities at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Not ideology.
Now we're talking with Jose Alberto Nino, who is a Venezuelan-American political activist and writer. And you may have seen his works at Mises Institute and other places, especially on this particular issue of Venezuela. I want to ask you, there are guys who are sitting back at home here in the United States, and they're saying, hey, apparently socialism isn't working. They're going to grasp on to capitalism. That's exactly what they're going to do. Are the Latin Americans going to grasp on to capitalism? Is the question.
Well, it really just comes down to whether or not they can organize effective like political parties and movements that can push for capitalism. It's the most successful Latin American countries thanks to economic reforms implemented by the Chicago Boys in the 1970s.
Yeah.
But the examples in Latin America, though, are few and far between. The only hope that Latin America really has at the moment is the Alliance for the Pacific, the free trade bloc that comprises of Chile, Mexico, Colombia, and Peru. That they're a clear alternative to the traditional socialist, mercantilistic, crony capitalist policies espoused by other countries like Venezuela, Brazil, Argentina, etc. At the moment, though, it looks pretty bleak, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And because there are people who are sitting back here in Washington, D.C. and in New York, and I do want to ask you about Goldman Sachs in a moment, but there are people who are sitting back and they're saying, well, apparently those people who are in opposition share conservative values and they share principles of capitalism, and certainly they're trying to overthrow the entire system. And you're saying tonight they're not interested in changing the system, they're just moving around the chairs on the Titanic called socialism. Am I right about that?
To some degree, there are all figures in the opposition like Maria Corina Machado that do want to move Venezuela in a more like free market like model. It's just that a lot of the opposition is so muddled, and they also have been indoctrinated by social democracy and softer forms of socialism that it's very difficult for them to understand that Venezuela needs shock therapy and capitalism will do the trick. It's a very complicated situation, and the fact that Maria Corina Machado is not that well respected amongst the opposition herself makes it even more difficult for capitalist ideas to ultimately prevail amongst the opposition. If they do get into power, I think that they're going to maintain like a hodgepodge of policies, obviously not as bad as the current government, but I don't think it goes far enough in order to get Venezuela back on track, let's say, the way Chile did in the 1970s.
Exactly. You are a narco capitalist. You believe in free markets. You believe in free enterprise. You believe in government getting out of the way. Um, is that something that you learned or garnered here in the states, or was it something that you realized when you were in Latin America?
I learned that mostly in the States. Most of my life in the States, actually. I came to the U.S. when I was very young.
Yeah.
So my political upbringing and culture was heavily shaped by the books, ideas that I was exposed to. So I would say that, like, philosophically speaking, I am very much like a child of like the American Revolution and all those principles, classical liberal principles.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and so that leads me to my final question with you, and I want you to tell everybody how they can read your stuff. But there are those of us who are realists, are realists. We understand that over a century of liberation theology and dictatorships and attachment to Marxism and socialism doesn't change because you're hungry. It only changes when you recognize the freedoms that God has given you and you wish to acquire them and obtain them in governance. Um, what will it take for us to help Venezuela move along the track of being a free market, free enterprise, uh, constitutionalist society?
I think that there needs to be like type of aid groups that have clear like philosophical and political organizing principles that will move towards a free society. They first have to like raise money and organize politically in a effective. I think that this is ultimately a political issue that obviously has an ideological undertone to it, and there needs to be like an education of ideas, but people need to be mobilizing. Right now is not the time for philosophical debates. It's about just getting core principles and getting a solid leader and an organization that can get the ball
Mm-hmm.
in terms of getting people out in the streets and actually uh, causing political consequences and inflicting political pain on those that oppress people.
Exactly. Listen, Jose, it was a pleasure having you on the air with us tonight. Can you tell everyone how they can read your materials and stay in contact with you regarding this? Because we want you to come back and talk about other issues that you've been following over the past years because you're a tremendous writer. How can people stay in contact with you, sir?
Well, Ken, I'd like to thank you again for having me on. And you can follow my work at Mises.org. I publish every month over there, as well as the Liberty Conservative. And you can check my LinkedIn, which is Jose Alberto Nino, and my Twitter, which is at Jose Al Nino, to check out my latest and writings.
Awesome. Listen, we're going to have you back soon because Venezuela goes down, but it's not the only problem. There are other nations that are suffering the very same thing. We thank you so much for your wisdom and your insight, sir.
Thank you so much, Ken.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Jose Alberto Nino. I will encourage you all as I put his information in the chat roll there. You can also find him on LinkedIn and on Facebook. But I'm going to tell you, you want to befriend this man. He has the insights and the wisdom that's missing in Latin America. We'll be right back with more of the best right after these messages.
Hello, this is Leslie Ann Stilfer with The Real Clear Israel. Join me every Sunday morning at 10:05 Eastern Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network, where we'll be discussing Israel with guests from Israel and around the world.
That's The Real Clear Israel, 10:05 Sunday on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Featuring right thinking from the left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't, BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, TECN Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than TECN Shannon and TECN Clanton. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work there too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, TECN Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
The dream deferred is real. You've been waiting for the Exceptional Conservative Network, and now it's here. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. Tune in and get the best in urban conservative talk. Stop dreaming. It's real.
Hi there, America. It's Lacey Steigerwald, aka The Raven, and I'm hosting the new show On the Fence, where we discuss perspective above all the noise. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 to 6 Eastern, 3 to 5 Central Time for my Central fans. In the first half, we have expert guests who are not only extraordinary Americans, they are ordinary Americans, just like you and me, who want the best for their hometowns and communities at large. Guests like Steve Beeman, financial guru and philanthropist, will join us on Monday. Tuesday, modern day knight in shining armor, Cliff Soseman will be with us to tell us all about honor and courage and commitment. Yes, these are real things. And Friday, none other than Trump advisor and member of the Trump transition team, Richard Manning, who heads up Americans for Limited Government. He will be with us to explain the importance of NAFTA. And in the second half, it's just deep tissue analysis. Join us. You won't want to miss it. On the Fence with your host, Lacey Steigerwald.
Welcome to Lion Chasers, where faith and public policy intersect. And now, your Lion Chaser in the good fight of faith, Lonnie Poindexter on Urban Family Talk.
We're not saying that there's not instances where there's maybe racial injustice somewhere. This is America, and
We're calling Lonnie Poindexter. There seems to be an interruption in the media player until he answers. There we go. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
Hello?
Yeah, Lonnie Poindexter, can you hold in there for just a second while we play the rest of your wonderful, wonderful promo?
Sure, bro.
Thank you.
How about a world?
Welcome to Lion Chasers, where faith and public policy intersect. And now, your Lion Chaser in the good fight of faith, Lonnie Poindexter on Urban Family Talk.
we're not saying that there's not instances where there's maybe racial injustice somewhere. This is America, and people are human, and there's sin in the world. He's the president of first. He's the first president to say that America is not a Christian nation any longer. But we'll pray for our enemies while we defeat them.
You can't blame folks for messing up the city. There has not been an elected Republican in council in Baltimore City in over 50 years.
And the co-captain's chair with me today, Reverend Ralph Chittams.
What's happened is the social justice movement has now been hijacked by a godless movement.
Don't be bamboozled. Ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Douglass was a gun-toting conservative. It's not a black or a white issue. It's a God versus anti-God issue. And I know those would say, well, it's all rigged. It's all a game, Lonnie. Because I get that a lot. And there are the crew that has their bags packed at the train station waiting for Jesus to come back. We'll be here in a minute. Well, a train went by, another train. I don't know, it wasn't Jesus. But he's coming. Meanwhile, Rome is burning. The host of the Black Man Thinking radio show. Welcome to the show, Stanley Levy.
Good morning, Lonnie. How are you?
The core issues, the bull elephants aren't in the home. We got to do away with the entitlement programs and the things that hamstring us.
And that's where the conservative viewpoints really resonate for my generation.
I want to welcome to the show the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, and that's my brother Kenneth McClinton. Welcome, brother.
Lonnie, it's an honor and privilege always to be with your ever-expanding audience.
Let your listeners be lion chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. If Lion Chasers sounds right for your station or network, contact Will Addison by email, waddison@afa.net. Encourage your listeners to be lion chasers with Lonnie Poindexter and Urban Family Talk.
Lonnie Poindexter, one of the most powerful men in radio today, certainly a Christian radio icon. It is a great honor and privilege to have you on the Exceptional Conservative Network, the Exceptional Conservative Show tonight. Listen, of all the things that are going on in America, I know I wanted to talk with you about some other things, but I need to talk with you tonight about a certain incident that took place a few months back, and it was filmed and everything. And then the pictures came out over the weekend, and it was Kathy Griffin who was holding the head of the bloodied Donald Trump. And I don't know if you talked about it with your Cherubim family, because you got millions of listeners, and someday when I grow up, I want to be like you. But what was the reaction in the Cherubim family to that Kathy Griffin matter?
Well, brother, it continues to go forth. Those who roll with me, roll with you, that have our particular worldview. I'll just put it to you this way. There's some jumping up and down and cheering because CNN cut her loose. Mm-hmm. I was quite frankly kind of shocked because I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah.
She obviously rolls with the ideology of left-leaning CNN. But I think that even they got the pressure and so forth that she had crossed and gone too far. What really intrigues me is in her apology and the fact that she didn't even understand that she had crossed the line until there was enough pressure put on her that she had to do something. I don't know how you can. I know you've seen the photo. I got folks that happen to have our particular conservative biblical worldview that were complaining to me, saying, "Why do you keep showing the photo?" I said, well, "It needs to be ingrained into our collective mindset so that we understand that these are the links that they will go to drive their particular agenda." And they only responded with the off with her head, so to speak, is because of the pressure they received from on high. Even Chelsea Clinton disowned her.
Yeah, let me just say this, Lonnie. I think you Christians are overreacting. You conservatives are overreacting. She's a comedian. It's just a joke, right? That's all it is. She would have done it to Obama.
Brother, there's members of ISIS over in the Middle East going, "Oh, she crossed the line. Crossed the line. My God. I'm going to eat." That was disgusting.
We're going to give.
How you cut off a head.
We're surrendered tonight. If the comedians are that bloody, imagine what the rest of the Americans are like. No.
Yes. I'm not coming to that country. Liberals. Oh my God. That's not how you cut off a head.
We're talking tonight with Lonnie Poindexter from Urban Family Talk, Lion Chaser Radio that he is. And you need to be a chirp, and he'll tell you how to do that before we close out on this segment. But this was her apology, okay? It wasn't a Hillary Rodham Clinton apology where, you know, if I offended you, then I apologize. She said I crossed the line, so she took responsibility. I went way too far. She took responsibility. The image is too disturbing, meaning you people are weak and sissies and overreacting. But, okay, I ask your forgiveness. I beg for your forgiveness. Now, I really, in her apology video, she does look like Ronald McDonald. I'm just saying. She does look like Ronald. If you're going to do an apology video, get your hair done and get some makeup on. Don't do it like the way she did it. But there is
There's not enough makeup at Max Just saying.
But apparently, there is someone who wrote in the Washington Post this afternoon, Brandon Ambrosino, that we need to accept her apology. We need to forgive her. And if we don't forgive her, how can we dare forgive any of us for the mistakes that we've made? So, as a religious figure that you are with great predominance in the field of radio, haven't you forgiven her already? And hasn't Donald Trump forgiven her?
You know, brothers, one of the things I'm always fascinated by those that have a liberal worldview is they don't understand the concept of forgiveness and also consequences. We as Christians know that we're forgiven for our sins, but we don't always get a ghetto pass for the consequences of our sins. That's the beauty of, and also the two-edged sword of what Christianity is. You are forgiven. But it's just like somebody commits murder and they say, forgive me. We forgive you, but you're still doing time.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still going to do your time. And she, somebody commented, you know, because I'm glad, I said the prayers were answered. Yeah, I wanted her to lose her job, and I wasn't trying to be vindictive or anything like that. There should be a price that's paid for crossing the line. If you occupy that space as to trying to direct culture in this nation, and you cross the line, then you should pay the price for it. You would forgive her? Yeah. I'd probably give her a hug if she came. No, I think that the forgiveness from her that she's seeking is, okay, it's not so much that she wants forgiveness, it's so much that she's sorry she got caught.
Yeah, you taking my paycheck away from me. You see what you're doing? Taking away my... And I got to ask you this, because we all know that there's some liberation theology disciples out there that would say that we are bludgeoning her by not offering forgiveness. But I haven't heard in the past hour or so since I've been on the air, has she asked forgiveness from Donald Trump?
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen her ask for forgiveness, but I haven't seen her directing it toward Donald Trump. You know, like I said, she's just sorry that she got caught. And I hate to sound, you know, we sound really callous that we were positioning this, but those of us who have the scars on our back and the calluses on our hands for carrying the veil for, you know, for truth, understand that. Remember the rodeo clown that during the Obama administration was fired because he
Yes. Exactly. And he was just joking. Jokey joke. Listen, come to the final part of this segment. I want you to tell everybody, first and foremost, you have a wonderful, wonderful program that's on between 11 and 1 every single day. And you got some great guests on there and great contributors. How can people listen to your program and become a part of the Churban world?
Well, I strongly recommend that once they get a good, healthy dose of the exceptional conservative network, that they trot on over to urbanfamilytalk.com. That's urbanfamilytalk.com, and catch my show called Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter, broadcast at 11 a.m. Eastern until 1 p.m. East Coast time. That would be 10 a.m. Central time zone and 8 a.m. West Coast time zone. And we talk about, well, the issues of the day. And you stole my line, so I'm going to try to take it back. I, in fact, just want to be like you when I show up. And so I take my cues from the exceptional one. So if you hear anything good happening on my show, I probably stole it from him.
I doubt it.
Time on the show, we talk about things that are issues of the day, but from a biblically conservative point of view.
Listen, Lonnie, we love you. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And we look forward to listening to your program tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. God bless you, bro.
God bless you, brother.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lonnie Poindexter, when we come back, we're setting up
Featuring
for
right thinking from the left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon, and you're Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
To food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show as we prepare to go into the second hour where we will release the Kraken, and Shannon Wright will join us as well. Want to thank the great people at SHR Media and also High Plains Pundit Media for carrying us live. And in addition to that, Ustream, thank you so much. And Red Nation Rising. Most certainly, thank you for carrying us in the 2 a.m. Liberty, on the 2 a.m. on the Liberty Channel. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to sit back and I want you to relax and dress up like Ronald McDonald so that we can all hang out with Kathy. I'm unemployed again. Griffin this weekend. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe, Book Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
Meet Jason. He was really excited to start growing his business with social media until he realized how complex and time-consuming social media can be. It's difficult to manage multiple social networks and accounts. It's hard to monitor what's happening on social media, follow discussions, and engage with new followers. It's time-consuming to publish updates throughout the day. Track and analyze how effective posts are, respond to fans and followers in a timely manner, and gain new customers. The list seems to go on and on. Jason quickly becomes discouraged. How could he ever do all of this and still run a business? He was ready to give up on social media until he found eClincher, the easiest way to manage social media. Jason was amazed how straightforward and simple it is to use eClincher. With eClincher, Jason is now able to leverage the power of social media without having to dedicate several hours a day. He can easily organize all his social media accounts in one place, efficiently plan and schedule his posts ahead of time, engage with his followers, understand the effectiveness of his efforts with powerful analytics, find new customers, and much more. In order to tell your business's story, simplify the process of managing your social media, and analyze results, sign up with eClincher today.
I'm Kevin Clinton, chairman of the Exceptional Conservative Network. Never has the cry for economic liberty been more resounding in urban America than on Election Day 2016. It's the economy. All real change begins with the American entrepreneur. Socialism did not work. Progressivism stole the wealth of individuals and families. You voted for something different. Real change. But what does real change look and sound like? It looks like Las Vegas, and it sounds like Freedom Fest 10. Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds, is the popular liberty-minded conference at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas from July 19th to the 22nd. Hear the voices of the urban freedom movement: Deneen Borelli, Larry Elder, Gina Lofton, Helen Rowley, Juan Pablo Andrande, and Ziad Abdel Nouad. Share ideas with powerful liberty movement figures like Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Anthony Scaramucci, Jennifer Grossman, Naomi Brockwell, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Peter Schiff, and our keynote speaker this year, William Shatner. Your money, your liberty, your freedom, your city. Come for the real and return with the change. Register now at freedomfest.com. That's freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all caps code TECN. God bless you. We'll see you there.
Begin your mornings the right way with some right thinking from me, Perry Drake, your friendly neighborhood drive-by pundit. I want you to join me every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Central Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. From politics to pop culture to relationships to whatever else is on your mind, we have a great deal to talk about. Join in and let's get the talking started.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get the talking started here. Welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the socialist. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm encouraging you to encourage as many people as you possibly can. Wake them up on the East Coast. For all my good friends in Great Britain, and in Germany, I know it's early in the morning for you all. To my very good people in Japan and Hawaii, I know that you are waiting for the rising sun, or at least watching it set. Ladies and gentlemen, I am letting you know you need to tune in tonight to SHR Media, SHR Media at 11 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. And the reason is very simple. Sackhead Sean Lewis, who is the president of SHR Media, I love him dearly. I wish him the very best and greatest success at SHR Media. But one of their great achievements tonight will take place when they go over 20,000 listeners. Over 20,000 listens on their own network. They have accomplished something only one other person has on their network, and that's yours truly, the exceptional one. God bless them. Congratulations to them. I want you to do me the greatest favor that you could possibly do. Get 5, 10, 15 of your friends. Tell them to tune in tonight. I want them to have over 1,000 listeners, if we can do it, 100 listeners, however way, to take them over the top. They deserve all the accolades and all the success of having put on one of the greatest networks in the history of conservative talk. And they deserve all of the accolades and applause for going over 20,000 listeners. I want you all, and it's shrmedia.com. I want you to go there at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Nobody does it like Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, Sacco, who is formerly with them. God bless you over in San Francisco, and you're in your great stead of a new position and everything. And as well, BZ, the Bloviating Zeppelin, Sir Mark, the bloviatingzeppelin.net is where you can go and read him. But I love having Sir Mark on Monday nights, and I choked him up on Monday night, got him back for him allowing me to come on his program, and he choking me up. But I am telling you, in this particular industry that we're in, it's not easy doing what we do. Sometimes our biggest fights are amongst ourselves as family, because we know what opposition we're up against, and we're trying so hard. We are doing airtime and making sacrifices and things of that particular nature to do what we do. And it ain't always perfect either. The Raven is in the hizzy. Good evening, Raven. I'm glad that you're joining Mary Brockman, my bouncer in chief. If you diss her, you diss me, you will be dismissed. Raven, we love you dearly. Raven is on in the afternoons from 4 to 6 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on TECN.biz and on the Exceptional Conservative Network at TECN.biz on our main screen. And so you can listen to her on our business network. We love her dearly, and we love the fight that she's adding to us. But it's not easy. I digress. It's not easy doing what we do. There's not money, a whole ton of money coming in, if any, for what we do. You're looking at true patriots who are on the air talking about the principles of Christianity, conservatism, constitutionalism, if I didn't say it, and capitalism, along with personal responsibility. And day in and day out, with all the other things that they have to do in their lives, their personal lives, their professional lives, they sacrifice and they do this. And this is why I really want you all to pour into shrmedia.com, shrmedia.com. I don't know how else I can say it to you. I know they would do the same thing for me in terms of celebrating them going over 20,000 listens tonight. And I'm encouraging you to do just that. Make certain that you are there, even if you're just poking your head in for 15 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Actually, don't do it for 15 seconds. Make it count for a whole minute. But I want you all to go in there, and I want you to see what men and women truly do to sacrifice to put on a top quality program. Is it like my show? No, it's not. But it is the best late night conservative talk show in America. I will say that hands down, no matter what comes or what may. Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint do a tremendous job. Make certain that you're in their chat roll tonight. Congratulate them, celebrate them. Over 20,000 listens. If you go to SHR Media, you will find that ain't done too often. It just ain't done too often. So congratulations to those gentlemen. and keep up the great work. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one amongst us who is like none other. He is not only a brilliant strategist, but a great friend, and as well a man who understands the importance of not only putting the pen to paper, but putting the word to verse. And he does it every evening, Monday and Tuesday, Thursday and Friday on SHR Media at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. None other than Ralph J. Chittams Sr. We know him as Ralph J. Chittams Sr., and the world knows him as the Kraken. We're about to release the Kraken this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Ralph. It's a tremendous honor and pleasure to have you on the air with us tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Exceptional. It's always a pleasure to speak with you and your wonderful, enlightened, learned listeners.
Thank you very much, and they greatly appreciate the accolade. Can you tell us, sir, with great umbrage, the lines that you use to express the bounty of your show?
Well, I start my show by letting everyone know that the Right Guy Show, where my worldview stems from. And my worldview stems from the fact that I am human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice, because that's the only position that makes any sense at all. And if on the rarest of occasions I am ever wrong, please understand that I will always be right.
You certainly are. Listen, I want to give you the opportunity before we go to break to talk about what I consider one of the great stories of our generation, how someone could actually sabotage their actual career like none other. Tiger Woods. Apparently, no, I'm just kidding. No, not really, but I want to talk with you about Tiger Woods. I want to talk with you about Kathy Griffin as well. But first about Tiger Woods. This is not driving under the influence the way it was reported early on, even on Fox News, as if he was, as if he were drunk behind the wheel. Can you explain to everyone exactly what his state and situation was?
Well, first things first, he was not driving under the influence of alcohol. He took a breathalyzer test and he blew 0.00. That means this brother didn't even have cough syrup in his system. Okay, let's just clear that up right now. But see, this is what we're getting with the media now. You know, we used to talk about the politics of personal destruction. What we have right now is the media of personal destruction. The facts of the story are no longer relevant. This is a guy who has had a couple of back surgeries, was prescribed a couple of painkillers, took a couple of pills, and on this occasion, he had a reaction to them, and basically, they knocked his butt out.
Yes.
And he was behind the wheel of his car. These were prescribed medications for procedures that he had. Now, did he show poor judgment getting behind the wheel after taking a couple of painkillers? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. But the fact that the media, and not just the media, but American society, was so quick to jump on the Tiger Woods as an alcoholic, behind the wheel, drunk driving. Look at this guy. Then they use that as an avenue to further attack him. Oh, see, you thought you were Tabula Nation. See, you ain't nothing but black. See how they treat a black man in America? They will take any opportunity that they can to destroy someone while at the same time creating a narrative of division.
You got that right. And one of the things that we watched with the New York Post for 2 consecutive days, putting Tiger Woods on the front cover. And shame on you, Fox Business News, because I watch you every single morning for 2 consecutive mornings, and that was your big story. It wasn't Kathy Griffin, it was Tiger Woods. And the question was, when will Tiger Woods lose his $45 million endorsements? Is there a sense that the judgment has to come from the media and that the mercy or they must be at the mercy of advertisers in order for there to be a clear call of morality in our society?
Well, the media is clear. And Morning Joe and Mika, they said it out of their mouth. It is our job to tell America what it is they're supposed to think. So the media has taken it upon themselves to be judge, jury, and executioner, and the left has used going after media advertisers as their new nuclear weapon to shut down anyone who says anything with whom they disagree.
Exactly. So literally we have here, and this is where I blame Fox News, which has lost its #1 status in cable news to Rachel Maddow. So that's telling you something. They spent that's saying a whole lot. They spent the last 72 hours trying to make Nike cut $25 million out of the salary or the advertising revenue of Tiger Woods, and Nike came out and said, we are behind Tiger Woods 100%. Is it time now for us just to say that they're all fake news? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's sad to say, but yeah, we have to add Fox to the stable of the Clinton News Network. Always backs Clinton. Nobody but Clinton. Unfortunately, we have to throw Fox into that cesspool as well now.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the best in urban conservative talk. We got the Kraken, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what you got, but we got the Kraken. We'll be right back. The greatest advertisers in all of the world are on the Exceptional Conservative Show and the Exceptional Conservative Network. Buy their products and share their good news. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com right now. We'll be back after these messages.
Hello, this is Leslie Ann Stiltful with The Real Clear Israel. Join me every Sunday morning at 10:05 Eastern Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network, where we'll be discussing Israel with guests from Israel and around the world.
That's The Real Clear Israel, 10:05 Sunday on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Begin your mornings the right way with some right thinking from me, Perry Drake, your friendly neighborhood drive-by pundit. I want you to join me every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Central Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. From politics to pop culture to relationships to whatever else is on your mind, we have a great deal to talk about. Join in and let's get the talking started.
Tune in on Mondays and Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the news. Now we put the wisdom with Randy and April Kern as they bring you a variety of topics from politics, social issues, and everything in between. Once again, that's Mondays and Fridays, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the news. Now we put the wisdom only on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Kraken with us tonight, Ralph J. Chittams Sr. You can hear him on SHR Media and TECN at 8:05 p.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of every week. We've been talking about Tiger Woods. And so my question to you is, morally, you being a man of God, doesn't Nike have the right to take away Tiger Woods' revenue, his endorsement deals?
It would depend upon what sort of clauses are included in the contract. A lot of these clauses, a lot of these contracts rather, have things like morals clauses and things of that nature. Now, if they consider, Tiger Woods a professional athlete taking painkillers and having a reaction to those painkillers to the point where he incapacitated behind the wheel of his car, if that is considered a moral lapse under the contract, then yes, they can cancel the contract.
Exactly, but apparently it's not. They consider that a medical induced matter, and there's
and anybody can consider that medically induced, except for the people who jumped on. Oh, look at his eyes, man. He's drunk. And he said that with absolutely no facts behind it whatsoever.
I love the fact that people are not reporting the fact that he repeated back the Pledge of Allegiance backwards to the police. You ain't drunk. You ain't drunk at all. There's no way you can do that. Listen, want to talk with you about Kathy Griffin. Had a wonderful conversation with Lonnie there. Should she apologize to Donald Trump personally for her bad behavior?
Only if she means it.
Oh, why? Come on. They always mean it.
No, that apology that she put out, she did not mean at all. If you look at the taping from that photo shoot, she said something along the lines of, I may have to leave the country because of this to avoid prison.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when they were doing the shoot, when they were looking at the proofs, before they went live, before it went on Twitter, before it went on social media, she knew just how far it was she had gone. And she decided that she was going to go ahead and pull the trigger anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So no, the only reason she apologized is because her two gay boy toys, Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon, and Chelsea Clinton criticized her. That's it.
Listen, we only suspect Anderson Cooper's gay. We know Shepard Smith is, but we're not too certain about Anderson Cooper.
He came out of the closet wearing a pink boa and pantyhose.
So I mean, come on now. Is it going to be Megyn Kelly and Anderson Cooper for New Year's Eve now? I mean, Kathy Griffin is a beautiful woman. Look what you're giving up on New Year's Eve.
Mr. McClenton, I will have to make an appointment tomorrow with your ophthalmologist, and we will try to get if possible.
You know, I'm telling you, Kathy Griffin always looks good at 2 a.m. on New Year's Day. She looks great.
There's not enough Bayside Scotch. Look to me.
Oh man, listen. Want to talk with?
But we also need to remember. See, I was done with Kathy Griffin about. It had to have been at least 5 years ago when she won some sort of award for something, and I don't even remember what it was. But she got on the stage and said, a lot of people have come up on this stage and have thanked Jesus. The last person in the world that had anything to do with my winning this award was Jesus. When she got on that stage at that award and mocked Christians, from that point forward, I personally was done with her.
All right, so you're not going to extend forgiveness to her because you as a Christian must extend forgiveness.
Forgiveness must be asked in sincerity.
Oh, okay. And see now you putting all these quid pro quos that's just too tough for a Marxist socialist to get by. I mean, sincerity? Come on. They gave that up a long time ago, along with their virginity.
Well, that's their problem.
That's their problem. Listen, I do want to talk with you about a very important issue here, and you know how I don't like women to be victimized at all. Being the chairman of Open Heart Closed Case, and you are one of the board members there. I hate victimization by all sorts. And unfortunately, we have a woman in America who has been victimized. Her name is Hillary Rodham Clinton. And she made note of the fact that
I'm about to.
she was a victim of a very broad assumption that I was going to win. That's what she says. She was a victim of winning. Have you heard of such?
This woman is absolutely delusional, and that's the only word for it. She has found everyone to blame for her losing the election, except Papa Smurf and Barney the dinosaur.
Well, we're gonna hold out because she might come out on Barney tomorrow. She says, I think it's fair to ask, how did that actually influence the campaign, meaning Russia? And how did they know what messages to deliver? Who told them? Who were they coordinating with and colluding with? Don't you know it was Russia that caused her to lose the race? Not America, but Russia.
No. First things first, if they hadn't written those stupid, insidious, ignorant emails, there would have been nothing to leak in the first place.
True. Very true. Very true.
So, no, she lost the election because she was a lousy candidate. She decided that she wasn't going to spend any time in Wisconsin. She decided that she could run the most idiotic campaign across the Rust Belt because Lord knows those hick blue-collar redneck factory workers aren't going to vote for anybody but a Democrat. She made every mistake in the book, and she should have lost Virginia.
Yes, she should have. And if it wasn't for kickback here or there, she would have. Listen, Kraken, she says that I'm not going anywhere. Okay? I have a big stake in what happened in this country. I am very unbowed and unbroken about what happened because I don't want it to happen to anybody else. She doesn't want this to happen to Donald Trump, sir. Can't you understand she's a patriot, a lover of America?
When she says she's not going anywhere, she means that she's like one of those McDonald's hamburgers that you can sit on a table for 5 years. When you go back, it looks exactly the same.
It looks exactly. Well, actually, the hair on that hamburger might be a little bit better than Hillary's. And talk about someone who needs makeup. I'm just going to encourage you, if you make that kind of money in life, make sure that you have a very good stylist. Want to talk with you tonight also, Kraken, about a man who's also been victimized by a strong man, Jim Comey. He has come out and he says he refuses to be intimidated anymore. He's going to confess that Donald Trump confronted him, put that big 6'6" man against the wall and said, you better close out that case against Flynn or I'm coming against you. And as a result of that, he couldn't function anymore as FBI director and thus had to quit. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. You say, sir?
Welcome to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Put your clothes in, and here are your stripes.
Are you saying?
Because what he is claiming now is the antithesis of what he testified under oath before Congress. So now, if he's going to come forward and say this is what happened, what he is admitting to is perjury, providing false testimony under oath before Congress. James Comey, welcome to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Here is your number. Wear it well across your chest.
But wait a minute. Robert Mueller said it was okay for him to go before Congress next week and give his opinion of what happened regarding the hearsay conversation between two men. He said it was okay, so obviously there must be fire here for Robert Mueller.
No, I don't care about the hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
That's irrelevant to me.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's important to me is this guy, FBI director, going to testify before Congress that he lied when he gave his previous testimony? Now, if they give him immunity from prosecution, then that brings into question the truthfulness and the veracity of what he is now saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because now he could lock impunity without having fear of being prosecuted for perjury. James Comey has painted himself into a corner where he is either a liar or a damn liar.
Now I'm going to ask you, in all sincerity, if your attorney told you that it was okay for you to do this, would you keep him as your attorney?
First thing first, I would look at him and say, "Are you crazy?" Like I said, James Comey right now is in a position where either he's going to go to jail for perjury, or his truthfulness will be questioned for the rest of his life. And he will not have any credibility with anyone until the day he dies.
Now, you know, Mr. Ascot man would come.
That's the corner he painted himself in.
Mr. Ascot man would come against you and say, listen, Donald Trump has been colluding with the Russians. Donald Trump has given a backdoor to the Russians. Donald Trump tried to force James Comey to give up doing the investigation. It was Donald Trump who did all of this. And quite frankly, James Comey should be celebrated as a whistleblower. And your retort would be, sir?
Proof.
Oh, you can't just say hearsay.
No. My response to all of that, prove it.
Thank you.
And you can't prove it with the guy who's cut a deal to avoid going to jail by committing perjury. Everything he says out of his mouth from that point forward becomes suspect. And if he were in a court of law, in the witness stand, the defense attorney would chew him a new one.
Yes, exactly. This is the same guy who presented overwhelming, and when you listen to prosecutors on both sides of the fence, left and right, overwhelming evidence against Hillary Rodham Clinton to prosecute her, whether with or without intent. And he chose not to forward that case to DOJ. Can you really trust this man within the nth of the law to do that which is right? I don't know.
No, because his family also has financial ties to the Clintons and the foundation.
And he didn't recuse himself from that investigation, now did he?
Of course not. On the payroll. The same with Loretta Lynch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What you have is a cesspool of nepotism. This one's son, this one's wife, this one's brother, this one's sister, this one's husband. It's a cesspool of nepotism that these Democrats and leftists have created inside government and media, and that's how they're able to control the narrative. Because when the politician goes home and he's putting his head or she's putting her head on a pillow next to a reporter.
There you go. Very true. Listen, our down low listeners, because 14% of our domain visitors are from Washington, D.C., I want to assure everyone that 14% of Washington, D.C. is not conservative. I just want to make that clear to you. So our down low listeners who are following us along at home, who want to catch us in something that we say so that we might be prosecuted the way Kathy Griffin was in the public eye, want your opinion regarding the city council passing a $13.8 billion budget And there was Grosso and Silverman and a few others, no, Trayon White, in fact, who wanted to remove the protections against the estate tax in Washington, D.C. Go right ahead, sir. You go right ahead.
Well, see, this is something that Americans, that the American people need to understand, and they need to understand clearly. When a mayor or a president or a council member is elected for 4 years, 6 years, whatever the term is, there is no such thing as a 10-year budget. Because as soon as that crop of people's term is over, everything that they said they were going to do goes out the window, and the next crop of people can come in and do the exact opposite. So what Trayon White and Silverman and Nadeau and Grosso attempted to do in reversing the tax cuts, they were well within their legal right to do it. Because a previous legislature cannot dictate to a subsequent legislature. And people need to understand that when these people talk about, oh, we're going to cut the taxes 10 years down the line, no, there is no guarantee of that because of what I just said.
There you go. If you don't do it now, it won't be done. Basically, is what you're saying.
Right. There's no guarantee. Right. There's no guarantee it's going to be done later because a present council cannot encumber a future council. Like a previous president's executive order has no bearing on the current president, and that president can undo the previous president's executive order with the new executive order, and the next president can undo both of them.
Exactly. And so that's
why legislating by executive order is stupid.
I gotta ask you this, and then I'll let you tell everyone where they can listen to you and how they can get in contact with you in terms of counsel for political campaigns and things of that nature. But $13.8 billion, that's a lot of tax money. Okay? And 100 million is just a drop in the bucket to 13.8 billion. That's a lot of. Are we getting what we're supposed to get for $13.8 billion, sir?
Oh, man. Oh, I cracked the rib. I was laughing so. No. They can't get the trains to run on time. They can't get the buses to run on time. The trash barely gets picked up on time. You know, we've got a council member now who just got slammed with a fine because he got hit with a $5,100 fine, but he can't remember what he did with $300,000.
Wow!
That'd be like me saying, you owe me $100, and you go, hey, Ralph, here's a nickel. How's that for a down payment?
I'm going to get it back to you, man. All of it, someday. How can people get in contact with you, Ralph? And how can people listen to you?
Well, as you said, I'm on TECN and SHR Media Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Tune in. I would love to have you interact with me. And if you want a little bit more personal interaction, please go to my consulting company's website, Black Elephant Consultants, LLC. The website is blackelephantconsultants.com. There you'll find all sorts of commentary, a way to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you.
There you go. We love you, Kraken. And we want to listen to you tomorrow night at 8:05 p.m. on SHR Media, TECN family. We love you, man. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Kraken.
All right, I might be doing another remote tomorrow night. You never know.
We're looking forward. You did a great job in the car, bro. Glory be to God.
God bless. Talk to you later.
God bless you, bro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Kraken. He was released. We got to let him go. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after these messages. Shannon Wright coming up to drop the mic. Christianity, conservatism, the Constitution, capitalism. Our amazing hosts at the Exceptional Conservative Network broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com right now. Join us in chat by clicking on the TECS tab, Bible Study tab, or TECN tabs. TECN, spreading the good news to the ends of the earth. We'll be back after these messages.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, TECN Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than TECN Sean and TECN Clanton. We're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, TECN Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm gonna walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. We're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage that we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and ingredients. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and the Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. Fish and grits, and our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused beef burgers. So we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burgers, and we're gonna grill it to perfection. After I put the burgers, we add the sauce and let it cook on into the meat just a little bit. We're gonna add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger to spice it up a bit. What a
6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland. Make it your place this weekend.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. They told me that I needed to be humble, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. so I decided to be awesome instead. That's the Willie Lawson Show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. here on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, settle down, settle down. We are getting Shannon Wright on the phone right now. The beautiful, the vivacious Shannon Wright, whom you can hear at 7:05 in the morning. Normally you could probably hear about 8 o'clock when her coffee kicks in. But at 7:05, early in the morning, on SHR Media and TECN, you can hear the lovely, the beautiful pastor, Shannon Wright, with her great and victorious husband, Michael Wright. Let's get them on the air right here. Let's get Shannon on the air. Good evening, Shannon.
Good evening. How are you?
Just fine. I feel the excitement.
It's been a long day and a long week.
Well, listen, I did not know that you, Pastor, the Right Reverend Shannon Wright, I did not know that you were a beauty queen. How about that?
So where you been trolling?
You know, I'm a journalist. Eavesdropper. That's another name for eavesdropper. Synonym. But
Somebody done told on me. Huh?
You are a beauty queen. Oh my good. Can you tell us that history before we talk about Baltimore?
Well, Lord, have mercy. Well, it's kind of short. Was really unhappy with the way some things were going specific to education in New Jersey. And I said to Mike in a joke, you know, if I was 10, 20 years younger and had a title, I'd have a year to be able to run my mouth and people would have to listen. And he said, so why don't you go get a title and then go run your mouth? So I said, keep it up and I will. And he said, fine, do it. And so I did.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you. Oh, you look so pretty in your tiara. Your tiara.
Oh, you found one of the blue gown pictures?
Yes, I did. Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Congratulations. Your little sash on. Oh, you look so cute.
Oh boy.
See, I can say all this without worrying about you slapping me. So, you know, I can say it from here.
Yeah. Wow.
Listen, 30 murders. 30 murders in 30 days in Baltimore. Things are pretty much settling down, huh?
No. No. Nope, they're not settling down at all. And I don't expect that they will anytime soon.
So
we have some leadership that doesn't seem to understand how to lead. We have a mayor who's proposed a budget with over $5 million worth of cuts to the police department budget at a time where clearly they are having a difficult time finding a clue on how to stem the tide of all the criminal violence in the city. She's put aside the $10 million that she estimates will be necessary for some of the requirements from the consent decree, but because of that extra $10 million, I've taken 5 away. So when you add 10 but take away 5, and you net 5, but that 5 is restricted to specifics for the consent decree, which is not going to help in the streets.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is my point here. Is this payback for the $6 million that had to be paid out for Gray? Is this payback?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I do not believe that at all. I don't think that the two are related at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Baltimore's current mayor seems to have some priority in funding, a lack of knowledge on some things. You say that you're cutting from the police budget to fill the gap in the schools, but the gap in the schools is 10 times more than what you're cutting from the police department. And you're cutting from the police department when we've got the highest crime rate on that the city's ever had. That's kind of counterintuitive.
Now, is there any pushback from Baltimore? It really, or is it?
Of course there is. You know there is. You know there is.
Because I'm
Folks
just,
are not happy.
yeah.
You know, I mean, the murder rate is off the charts, and not just the murder rate. The violent crime rates are off the charts across the board. So now is not the time to cut the budget. You cut the budget, you cut the resources, you cut the hours, you cut a whole bunch of stuff that clearly is needed. Now, there's also the issue in the question of management of existing resources, and perhaps things need to be managed in a different manner to be able to do more with less. And I get the concept, but whatever it is she's trying to do is not translating well into the streets.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to ask you real quick, because a lot of people say, Ken, whenever you have Shannon on here, she has to drop the mic on issues regarding budget and crime and Baltimore, and you know, you don't talk about crab cakes and things of that nature. But there is a very important story out of Baltimore, and I want to shine some light on it. There's a 7th grader in Baltimore who has become the first ever national chess champion. I want you to talk about him for a moment.
Well, he's a little fella that trains with one of the youth chess leagues that's only open to public school students. And although he is trained in a formal style, apparently I believe it was his mom that decided to take him, to the barbershop to be able to play against some of the old heads, as folks like to say, and learn a little bit more freestyle way of playing. And he still beat the pants off him.
Wow.
So he is one of 3, but I understand, as much as we need to celebrate his accomplishments, we also need to not lose sight of the fact that it was just 2 weeks ago that Baltimore also had the distinction of being one of the few, if not only, cities in the country that had 6 high schools within its borders with 0 students proficient in anything. So Baltimore is really becoming quite the dichotomy.
Wow. I mean, one piece of good news, it seems, out of Baltimore, and congratulations to Kyrie Merrick on that attainment of accomplishment and success. But in all sincerity, looking at this, Baltimore hasn't gotten any better since the last election. I thought things were supposed to get better. Is that because they didn't vote you in, Shannon? I'm just saying,
Well, at this rate, folks that did not, do that the first time will have a chance to change and repent and turn from the error of their ways in 2020.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
Repent, I said, repent. Pastor Shannon, can you tell everybody how they can listen to your number 2 show on TECN, number 3 on SHR show, and we owe all of that to Mike, really, but we'll give you some credit tonight.
Of course. Oh no, you don't have to. It's all good. It's all good. You can tune in at 7:05 Monday through Thursday to either TECN.com to find us on the Exceptional Conservative Network, or you can do a search on Spreaker, or you can go to our Facebook page, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Whole bunch of ways to find us.
There you go. Listen, we love you both dearly, and thank God for you. And we're praying for Baltimore. That's all I can say.
Baltimore needs it. Please do.
Amen. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:05 on SHR TECN.
Yes.
God bless you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
God bless you too.
Shannon Wright, get some sleep. I get that coffee together for tomorrow morning. We'll be right back right after this particular break, ladies and gentlemen. The last break of the night before you pile on over to SHR Media.
Hi there, America. It's Lacey Steigerwald, aka The Raven, and I'm hosting the new show On the Fence, where we discuss perspective above all the noise. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 to 6 Eastern, 3 to 5 Central Time for my Central fans. In the first half, we have expert guests who are not only extraordinary Americans, they are ordinary Americans, just like you and me, who want the best for their hometowns and communities at large. Guests like Steve Beeman, financial guru and philanthropist, will join us on Monday. Tuesday, modern day knight in shining armor, Cliff Soseman will be with us to tell us all about honor and courage and commitment. Yes, these are real things. And Friday, none other than Trump advisor and member of the Trump transition team, Richard Manning, who heads up Americans for Limited Government. He will be with us to explain the importance of NAFTA. And in the second half, it's just deep tissue analysis. Join us. You won't want to miss it. On the Fence with your host, Lacey Steigerwald.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the final moments of the Exceptional Consider Show live from the nation's capital. We are ever so thankful for you all being here. Bloviating Zeppelin, thank God. Looking forward to you coming on in just a few. The Raven was here. Dave, No Surrender Milner. Mary Brockman, my bouncer in chief. Smooches to you. If you diss her, you diss me, you diss us all, and you will be dismissed. Shannon Wright is in that chat room. Mamba was in there. Dan the Man Butcher was in there. There's so many people that came. Ralph was in there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody who came into the chat room tonight. I do want you to remember this. It takes courage and it takes veracity to do what two men did after having coffee in a coffee shop one day, coming up with the idea of a conservative network. The guys at SHR, Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint, and the Bloviating Zeppelin and Sacco, they all deserve a standing ovation. Congratulations to them. They are about to go over the 20,000 mark this evening. 20,000 listeners this evening. Only happened once on their network, and you happen to be listening to the show in which that took place. But I want you all to go direct. I want y'all to pile into the car right now. Pile on in. Get in. And it's a Studebaker. You can all fit. Go over to shrmedia.com. shrmedia.com. I want as many people over there so that they can break the record soundly tonight. God bless you all. Thank you for your innovation and your vision. May God bless you eternally and have a very wonderful show this evening. I want to say to all of you, God bless America. It's time now for America to bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night. Go to SHR!